Hey there everyone in Magic Land, my name's Little Donkey, and this is a Pompous Ass Magic review on Pucatrade.
This is Pompous Ass!
So Pucatrade is an online trading resource where people try to trade in boxes full of commons and bulk rares into chase rares, mythic foils, and anything they need to complete their sets or constructed decks. So what I'm going to go over in this review is the Pucatrade website, how to sign up, how to actually access trades and to initiate your first trades, and how to avoid some pitfalls, and finally give you kind of my viewpoint, is it worth it? I've been a member with them since January, and I'll give you kind of my perspective on that. Stick around. So the first thing when you get to your Pucatrade main page website is you're going to notice a few things on the dashboard. This is assuming you're already signed in. So on a general basis, you'll see any messages right here. You'll see your name, which is mine is Little Donkey, and then of course any points you've accrued. Now each point is worth roughly a penny, so this means I've got about $180 or so in available money that I can use. Over here under the dashboard are recent trades that have been going on, and as you scroll down you'll see what's most popular. Most of it's going to be standard based stuff, and then of course there's various Puca stats and top traders, and they even throw in some interesting insight into the Pucatrade world and various ideas regarding rules and effects in the Pucatrade magic universe, so to speak. Now, when you get to this, what's nice about this is it's actually laid out also on your phone. I've used Pucatrade on my phone many times, so it works on mobile platforms. It's easy for me to sign off that I got new cards, or that new cards are being sent to me, or that I'm shipping stuff. It all works pretty nicely. But if you're just signing up, the very first thing you want to do, and I'll put a link in the description that if you sign up, you get a few extra points, and I do as well for referring you. If you sign up, there's 3 tiered levels, and I'll take you to that right now. The 3 tiered levels are going to be common, which is free, as you'll see right here, costs nothing. Your uncommon, which is the level I'm at, and that's $45 a year. And then your rare, which is $90 a year or $10 a month. Both the uncommon and rare, they give you extra points just for signing up, and they give you a few extra benefits. So for example, the common level, you get to trade anything you want for free, but you can only request foils, which is what I really love, foiling out my EDH decks, at the uncommon level. And at the rare level, you get some other insights and things like that. So as you scroll down, you'll see various Puca point bonuses based on which level you get to, and various things that entice you to join the higher tiers. This is pretty much how Pucatrade makes their money so far that I've seen. That, and you can just buy points from them, again, each one being worth about a penny. So if you give them $5, you get 500 points. This is pretty much it. So this is how they support themselves. You don't see any ads running along the websites here. It's a pretty nice user experience, and these guys got to make money to pay their bills too, so try to support them when you can. I think it's a great experience, especially for Magic players. So just to go over real quickly, if you get into the common level, you get unlimited free trades. The trade guarantee, let me tell you, this is really nice. I've only had to use it once, and it was for an international trade that I did, and it was a $15 card. The card got lost in the mail. It went somewhere to, I can't remember exactly, somewhere in Asia. And after about 3.5, 4 weeks, the receiver said that they hadn't gotten the card yet. It must have gotten lost in the mail. So, I didn't know what to say or do, so we both opened a claim on it. And based on my history and the fact that I hadn't had any other stuff get lost, and I've now done several valuable trades, they basically gifted me the points as well as the receiver the points. Can this system get abused? Absolutely. And they have safeguards to make sure that it doesn't. But it's nice to know that, unfortunately, things do get lost in the mail, especially when you're going international, that they do offer some kind of insurance, so to speak. Now, I do believe with their trade guarantee, if it's over a certain value, I believe it's $50, they do ask for some kind of tracking on it. But that's it, and that's pretty nice. Again, back to the tier levels, you got common, uncommon, and rare. The other nice things that I get with an uncommon level is that I get a watch list, so cards I don't necessarily want to have on my send list, but maybe I'll want them in the future. I just throw them on there, and oh, and the other really important feature with the uncommon and rare level, you can offer bonuses. And bonuses are a way to entice people to send out cards that are really hotly desired. So for example, I love expeditions. So let's go over to my want list right now, and I'll kind of walk you through this. So when you're creating your website, you're going to go to, first thing I would recommend doing is actually telling them all the cards you have. So I'll go there real quickly. Under my cards, you hit the have button. Now what I did, it's painstaking. It takes a little bit of time. But what I did was I listed everything that I don't currently have in a deck, everything in my trade binder, everything in my bulk bin, all my commons, even the multiples. So I have a 10 times multiplier in commons I got from Shadows over Innistrad. I bought several boxes of it, but you know what? If I've got 12 or 15, I just listed the 10 of them. So yeah, I put all those commons in there. And here's what happens when you do that. First of all, it's a great way to categorize what do you got? You know, it's good to know. It's an idea. And it gives you a rough value here if you were to bulk it all out. Now, again, this is TCG mid prices, so obviously I'd make a lot less than the $5,000 or so that they say it's worth. But it's a good idea to give you an estimate of what exactly is in your collection, because sometimes I'll use this just to say, do I even have that card? And as opposed to going and searching for it, I'll be like, oh yeah, I do. It's right there. Perfect. So there's several ways you can do this. You literally just would add in the card, and I can type it in right in here, Jace the Mind Sculptor from Eternal Masters. I'll click it right there, and it shows up, and there's a nice little picture. All of them have pictures. And I'll show you what roughly the TCG mid price is, $68. And is it foil? You can click yes or no. If it is, it jumps up dramatically. And here's another nice little thing you can do. What's the status? Well, let's say you don't want to trade it right now, and you don't even want it to show up in trade, you know, that other people might be interested in it. So you hit the status as, I'm not sending it out right now. I'm not interested. Or if you decide it's okay to send it, you can go ahead and do that right there. And so that's kind of a really nice way to say, hey, I've got a Jace the Mind Sculptor. Other people want it, and this is kind of what it looks like. And you can go through all the cards. Again, I've done that with all of my commons, uncommons, bulk rares, everything I own that's not currently in a deck. And I'll tell you why in just a moment. And then I'll remove this because I got rid of my Jace, so I'll just remove it there, and it's just that simple. It's pretty nice. Now I'm going to go to my wants list. Now my wants list is a list of cards that I've decided I would really like to have. And as you look something up, so let's say, again, maybe I want a Jace the Mind Sculptor. You can type it in. Jace the Mind Sculptor shows up from Eternal Masters. And there it is, the same point value, everything else. I don't need it in foil. But here's something else you can also do. At the uncommon level, I can move it to the watch list. And the watch list is basically saying, I don't want it on my have list or on my want list. I don't want them to send it to me if I have the points available. It's going to move to the watch list, and at some point I might move it back. But right now I don't need it. I just kind of want to look at this card and make sure I've got it. It's just a nice separate list to have, basically, that's inactive, so to speak. But when you go and you click on the card, it'll actually pull up some stats. It'll tell you the Oracle text, of course, where it's from, everything else. You can add from here that you have it on your list, you have it in your watch, you want, whatever, how many do you currently have. And more importantly, it'll tell you how many times per day, week, month this is traded. And this is really key because certain cards are super rare, even though they only have a small point value, super rare. And this is a way to say, okay, you have a good chance of getting this, or you don't have a good chance of getting this. This may be a card you want to give a bonus to try to get, or it's frequently traded so often people will just send it out because they want to get the points. So for example, if I go to show foil, you see how it went from the card is traded 2.5 times per day to foil is now 2.6 times per week. And I've seen where it's traded once a year. There are certain rares that are just super rare and they just don't get traded that often. So it's a nice idea to have to know what's going on as far as that card goes. So we'll go back just a sec here, and I'm going to take the Jace off my want list so I don't get one sent to me. And then I can adjust my want list however I want. I can do it by card name, by set, by point value, rarity, foil status, and when I even added it on there. And I can even search if I have a super long list, which I don't. It's I think about 100 cards. And a lot of it is basically the expeditions, which most people really want expeditions, and some stuff for a few EDH decks that I'm looking at. So that's kind of the have list and the want list, And then you've got your, again, if you upgrade to the uncommon or rare level, you've got the watch list, and I'll show you that quickly. I've got about 53 cards in here, just some random stuff I've thought would be fun for decks, or I didn't know they were out there, or I'm looking at them for price specs, whatever it may be. Again, these cards on the watch list will not be sent to me until I move them to the wants list, which you see right there. Other things to note with this site. You can do a full import and export if you have the ability to use like Deckbox CSV, or if you just want to say you've got one of each of the entire expansion, you can just click the expansion, go to it, hit go, it'll add all those cards, either to your want list or your have list, whatever it is. So it's kind of convenient, although could be a little bit easier, and they are working on that. There is a version of Pucatrade coming out this summer called Future Sight. Based on, where Tarmogoyf came from. And Future Sight is going to be a new version of this site with better, more easy-to-access interface. It's going to offer various options that people have been looking for, and hopefully will make Pucatrade easier to use and navigate, although I think it's already pretty good. And then so you can search cards, of course, just going through, and it tells you various cards. You can look them up by number, you can look them up by name, all this. Some important things to be aware of. So when we go into trades, how do you send a card? So again, let's imagine that you've put all, say, 500 cards you have onto Pucatrade. The first thing you would do is go to Send Cards. And when you go to Send Cards, it's going to pull up your entire list. Well, say auto matching. First, you want to click this onto on, because auto matching off means it's just going to say all the cards wanted by everybody, and that's pointless. Go to the ones you actually have. And this is why it's important to add not just your rares onto this site, because everybody wants your rares. But a lot of times you can get extra points by throwing in your commons and uncommons and stuff you just don't normally play with. They even want tokens occasionally. So auto matching right here. What happens is you can put this by card name, by the value, by the foil status, by even the member. And I like using the member, and here's why. And then, of course, there's country, too. And we can go to filter countries. We can turn them all off. We can go to United States only, so it keeps it at, one stamp in the United States, guaranteed to get it in about 4 to 5 days. Where the hell's the United States? Right here. Which, by the way, I didn't even know this. If you hit United States minor outlying islands, so that includes Guam, that includes Puerto Rico, that includes stuff around the Virgin Islands, which is around the world, one stamp still does it. So you can actually put that on there, too. That's not considered international. That's a United States territory, and one stamp gets you there, which is pretty darn cool when you think about it. So I hit those two. Now, here's how I like to go ahead and try to get the best bang for my buck out of each stamp. And I've done a lot of international stuff, so sometimes an international letter, a 1-ounce letter, is going to be roughly about 3 stamps, but depending on how much weight you put into the letter, it can go up to 4 or 5 even. But 3 stamps or $1.15 is going to cover you in most cases. So when you look under here where my cursor is at, you'll see members. And what I like to do is I'll put them in alphabetical, and what that does is then and I put it reverse alphabetical, it then tells you how many cards each member wants of yours. So the cool thing to do is, if you want to trade more than just 1 or 2 rares, maybe you want to see if they want some uncommons, commons, bulk stuff, you can go to, like, for example, this guy right here, William Koleski. He wants a Grip to the Royal. He wants several of them. He wants a Temple Bell. Well, that's a different guy. But you can kind of see as you go through this. All right, here's a good one. Vokorskian, SP equals NM, and that means he'll take either SP condition up to near mint, obviously. He has roughly 393 points available to trade, and he wants the following cards. Now, 393 is $3.93, and the trade he's got here, he wants a Nissa's Pilgrimage, Oath of Nissa, a lot of Nissa stuff. And so you can look at that entire list and go, I can do with that common, get that out of here, Oath of Nissa, no problem, Nissa's Renewal, let's send it. And as long as it is under 393, you can go ahead and hit the send card. It'll go there. So for example, I'll do this real quickly. I'll hit Right of Replication for this guy. I'll hit send card. Now you have a chance to back out. It's going to pull up the exact card that is being sent. I won't hit commit to send because I'm not sending this. But I will then, that's what it looks like. And then once you hit commit to send, the address will pop up. You write down the address, you put it in there. And of course, if you want to add more cards to the trade, you're welcome to do that as well. So I'm going to back out of this. And so that's more or less how it works, is you just go ahead and start collecting points by sending, your items that other people want. And it's actually kind of fun when you look at it and I get to actually enjoy it. I opened about 5 boxes of Eternal Masters, and immediately, to get the highest value, what I did was, because I knew, especially when it came to the foil commons and uncommons, they're high now because it's the first time a lot of them have seen print or reprint. But because commons and uncommons all get opened, and they're common and uncommon, the price is going to drop. And I knew if I wasn't playing those cards, I wanted to get max value out of them. So I put them all on Pucatrade, and then I went ahead and sent them all out. That's what I did right away. So it was actually opening weekend. I got all the stuff I wanted. I traded for in person what I could, and then I went ahead and put the rest on there, and which is why I have almost $180 in Pucatrade, because most of that's from Eternal. And if I look at sending stuff, I still have about 102 cards or $240 worth of stuff still to be brought in, so to speak, for them to receive and then check off they got. So I have almost a total of 400 or so points that, well, here's an example. So I'll look at things that came out of Eternal. So you'll see a lot of this is Eternal stuff here. Came out of Eternal as mostly commons, uncommon, stuff like that. And when I shipped it, versus the value they paid for it then versus the value they pay for it now. And in almost every case, it's gone down. Here's a great one. Mishra's Factory. Mishra's Factory foil. I opened one of those. At the time I traded it was $14.67. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open Mishra's Factory, see what it's worth at the foil rate right now. Common is, or unfoil is $1.60. Foil is $13.95. So it's already taken about a 5% dip, and of course those prices will go down. It's traded almost 6.5 times per week, so the people that wanted a foil are likely going to get those foils, and the prices are going to go down. So it's just playing the stock markets here a little bit. Agorthian Enchantress. I have this in one of my Voltron decks. I love enchantments, and I love the art. It's the same as it was, but I like the new border and everything else. And I traded mine right away, and I got, this is actually the second one I opened. The older one I opened was $14. And let's see if this has gone down. Now, this is a Mythic. It may have stayed about the same. Oh, $9.50. So that's gone down as well. Again, a lot of this stuff is going to be going down, and if you hit it just right, you can unload a lot onto this market and make back value. And then you've got points sitting where you can offer bonuses and try to get the cards you really want to trade into. Now, one more important thing I want to tell you about sending. It seems daunting to try to trade to an international market because things can get lost. It takes 2, 3, sometimes 4 weeks. Patience is the name of this game. But here's what I will say. The market for people overseas is dramatically bigger than what is just allowed in the United States. Take Eternal Masters, for example. It was only printed, I believe, in Chinese and English. Most of the boxes were brought here. So they didn't really have a huge shipment sent to Germany, Italy, Spain, Israel, Australia. A lot of people can't get any product except for through secondhand markets like trading, basically. So they're willing to pay top prices to get those cards sent to you. And again, it takes 3 stamps, but it does get to them. You get the value, and you're getting rid of stuff you maybe didn't really want to begin with. So it's definitely worth putting in. So for example, let me just show you real quickly, again, going on my outgoing trades. So I'll look for stuff that had commons and uncommons. So Curdape was a big one. So this guy, Peter right here, he wanted a bunch of trades. So I gave him. A lot of them was uncommon stuff. Some of it had some value, some of it not. The Curdapes were not of value, but if I hadn't have put those on my have list, I never would have known to trade them, and I never would have gotten value for them. So it's just something to consider. It takes a little bit of time, but you will get max value if you put all your cards onto this onto Pucatrade. Now, occasionally it does happen where a case is open on you, and the case can be because certain people maybe they'll put on their profile that they are only wanting near mint cards, and they are sometimes you get really crucial graders, and whatever, to each their own. But really crucial graders who say, this little ding, this little nick, it's a problem. I have to take 10% off, 20% off. Pucatrade actually has guidelines that are pretty standard across the board, where near mint is regular value, and then LP, which is just below that, has limited play, believe it's LP is next, then SP. LP is like 10% of value, 20% of value is SP, and it goes down below that. So if both parties agree that a card is LP or SP, you just take the standard deduction, and what will happen is either they will send you the points, a reduced amount of points, or you can send them points and they'll forward them. It works out in the end. But a couple of times I have had to have cases opened. I have nothing going on right now, but just to give you an idea, I've had a few cases open from time to time, and some of them may just be that somebody wanted to send something and they realized they didn't have it, so they had to open a case to cancel it, and that happened almost, in fact, I think most of the times that was what happened. And so, for example, Conduit of Ruin. What happened here? I swear I got one of these pre-release. I couldn't find it. Sorry for the inconvenience. I have to trade the request. No worries, thanks. And we just resolved it, and you know, he couldn't trade his because he didn't have one. It happens, you know, no problem. And then sometimes it had to do with they thought the value was worth more or worth less, or whatever it may be. Life happens. But the Case Resolution Center I've found has been excellent with working with both sides, and they don't want to piss people off. They know this is a good community, and here's why I like using it. When I was in Florida, I had several stores I'd go to. I'd take my car, I'd take all my trades, and I'd stay at a store for several hours. We'd play games, we'd trade, and it was easy because I was in Florida where there was, you know, lots of players, and we all brought our cards by car, and there was no real chance of people taking your stuff, usually because you were in a safe environment, you knew everybody. I moved to New York, a couple things happened. One, they don't really have the space in New York at the stores to have people loiter around and just kind of play games randomly and go ahead and trade cards. And so that's one factor. You're not going to see as many people. Even though New York is a much busier city than anywhere in Florida, you're just not going to run into many people in a day because you just can't stay there and play games for 10 hours at a time. Second thing, because some people have some really big collections with real value, they're not going to throw them into their backpack, go on the subway, and go into the store. So people don't bring their collections with them. So Pucatrade for me has been a way to get cards that either people don't carry with them very often, or to request cards from me that I just don't care about and I don't even bother thinking of bringing with me. It's been a really beneficial tool for me, and it seems that the owners are taking the time to enhance the site, and I've been pretty happy with it. Now, how do you get the rare cards? I touched on this earlier real quickly. This will be my last piece. Once you have the value and you want an expedition, so I'm going to go back to the cards that I want real quickly, because a lot of people want value. They want dual lands, they want expeditions, they want Power 9, and Power 9 has been traded on this site. So for example, my high dollar stuff is going to be all the expeditions. I'm doing my darndest to collect all of them. I'm still a lot off. But for example, let's say I want to really get a Steam Vents, and a Steam Vents is currently at $110. How would I go about doing that? Well, to entice people to send those out, and they want to get points as well, a couple of things have been brought to mind. One, do it around the release of a new set. So for example, this new Emrakul set is coming out. Now would be a great time to entice people to send forward their old staples because they want to trade them into new cards for this new set. So what I would probably do is go onto my profile and I would add in, hey guys, a little bit about me, and also I will add an extra 20%. So I go from 10% bonus on to 20% for expedition lands. People will see that, they'll read that, and it might entice them just a little bit more to go ahead and send me those expeditions, and I'll turn basically bulk into treasure. So yeah, I give Pucatrade a thumbs up. It's been very useful for me. I don't know of other sites that are out there for trading, but this one I believe is the largest. So if you have advice on other ways to trade online other than through Facebook, please let me know. I'd like to hear some feedback and commentary. And again, as you see right here, invite friends, earn points. Again, it's only 200 Puca points we both get, but I'll put that link right in there. So if I get anybody that wants to sign up at a free level, or uncommon or rare for Pucatrade, feel free to use that link and we both benefit from it. All right, guys, that was my first Pompous Ass Magic review. I hope to see some of you guys playing online a little bit later, and thanks again for watching. Take care.